Good morning. Good morning and good morning. How are you? Okay, it's Friday. The week is ending, the work week. Now, some people may have a short week because they work only Monday through Thursday. Others may have, you know, even less time at work because they work longer, 3 days or 4 days. I tell you, I am happy that I create my own days. It makes my day be just the way I want it and not the way somebody else is requiring it to be. So anyway, hope you're having a good week. And now that the week is over, that you're planning on doing something fun, something that takes you away from the politics, from the radio, from unless it's dancing music. Now, dancing music, I say dance as much as you want. But anything that engages you too much into, you know, confusion, frustration, anger. But if it gets you where you want to go, maybe love, do it. Do it. Find somebody that makes you happy. It could be your kid, it could be a spouse, a boyfriend, girlfriend, it could be just friends, just hanging out, having a good time. I don't think you always have to have a drink or anything, but just enjoy life, enjoying life. Today's word is a fun filled word. And I have on some of the colors of, well, here's the yellow and the green and the purple, which would be Mardi Gras. So Mardi Gras is in full effect. I know when my sister was living, we loved Mardi Gras. And, because she was the partying type, she always knew when the events were being held and how much they cost and what should we wear and all that kind of stuff. I've never really kept up with it like that. But last year when I became our Rotary president of Pensacola Suburban West Rotary, I threw a party, and the party was that people who came, they must just realize that we were going to have a second line. We were going to do it with the umbrellas. We were going to have the mask on. We were going to have a good time, and we did. We did. So because I know that is the time of year and the time of season that we're in, I'm going to read a little bit of what Mark Twain says about this word. Today's word is lagniappe, 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 and it sounds like Lanyap. That's the way you can remember it. But of course, because it is a word that has, an origin, which we're going to talk about in a minute, you'll figure out that New Orleans is an area of French culture. Many of the people who inhabit that city, that area, are speakers, or their forefathers and mothers were French. But then there's always an enhancement of maybe Spanish culture as well as whatever the American culture brought up after that. So anyway, here it talks about, it says Mark Twain's thoughts. Y'all remember Mark Twain? Okay. Thoughts of Lagniappe. It says, we pick up one excellent word, wrote Mark Twain, and Life on the Mississippi in 1883. A word worth traveling to New Orleans to get. It says a nice limber, expressive, handy word, lagniappe. It is Spanish, so they said. And it says Twain encapsulates the history of lagniappe quite nicely. English speakers learned the word from French-speaking Louisianans. And he says, but they in turn had adopted it from the American Spanish word lanapia. It says what Twain didn't know is that the Spanish word from, it says quinchua, from the word yapa or yapna, meaning something added. Twain went on to describe how New Orleans completed shop transactions by saying, give me something for lagniappe. to which the shopkeeper would respond with a bit of a licorice root, a cheap cigar, or a spool of thread. It says it took a while for lagniappe to catch on throughout the country, but in time, New Yorkers and New Orleans alike were familiar with this excellent word. So lagniappe, in a sentence, it says the meal was served with a lagniappe of freshly made cornbread. The hotel threw in some free shampoo as a lagniappe. It says the word etymology says etymology, excuse me. It says it's American French from American Spanish, La Napia, the language. And it says first known use was in 1844. And the meaning defined above, the time traveler first known, says that lagniappe was just a word that had other words associated with it or that came up around that time. One was LAGNIAPPE and Langley or Langney. So those words were familiar. It also had Lenaya and Lenape and Langney. So the word after a while became familiar with the people who practiced, the whole idea of giving a little treat or a little gift to someone that it wasn't expected. It was not expected. And so that made it a treat. That made it something very special. So those are the little things. But here's some other words that came about in 1884. Airline. Before that, they didn't talk about there being an airline, but airline. Anti-tuberculosis. Blood poisoning. Color blindness. Wow. And I imagine that was always needed if you were people that required a lot of, visional, duties, responsibilities, especially like as pilots or, people who needed to have precision. It also says educative French toast came about in 1844. Labor force, also non-worker. I thought non-worker might be, like in the 1960s, non-worker, like the woman that stayed at home, or the 50s, the person that stayed at home would be a non-worker. And not meaning that they didn't work in their home, but they just didn't work outside the home. So the non-worker, but I thought that would be different. And then let's see, over analytical was another word that came about at that time. And then they also had a screw up. Wow. 1844, the screw up. And lastly, they had Wild West. There are loads of words, but those are I chose those 10, 11 words to just showcase the fact that, wow, words have history. They have a history. And sometimes the history is just as interesting as the word that we may currently use or currently may be available or is available for our use. But we don't always do that. A lot of times we stay with the same average of 50,000 words, but I'm trying to help you move. So today's word is lagniappe. And lagniappe is spelled, now get this, it's spelled Lagniappe. Lagniappe. You wouldn't even believe it. You would think it would just be Lany, YAP. Not. So you have to understand how words from different languages have a tendency to really be many more letters than what we're used to. I remember when I was in Italy, I would try to think it was easy to translate what I thought I was saying into Italian. Well, it wasn't that easy because they have different ways of expression. And so therefore, I might have been talking something that was in my neighborhood of where I was learning a little bit of Italian, whereas Italian on their grand scale of Italian, there was a difference. Amonini and andiamo, they both mean the same thing, which is come here. But, it depends on where you learned it from, and that's how you present it. So anyway, let's go with the word lagniappe. So lagniappe is a small gift given to a customer by a merchant at the time of a purchase. However, though, used in a broad sense, it says it's something given or obtained gratuitously or by the way of a good measure. Okay, haven't you given good measures like people who have, bridal showers, baby showers? There's always a little lagniappe that they're giving to someone when it's time for them to leave. Sometimes it may be the slice of cake. It may be, a little packet of candies in a piece of material. It could be a pen, a pencil, if it's more business related. So a lagniappe is just that. It's something that could be commemorative, but also just as a little gift to just say, I'm thanking you for coming, or take this with you as a memory, that kind of thing. So a lagniappe is a bonus. It's a dividend. It's an extra. It's a cumshaw. And I had to look up the word cumshaw because cumshaw was also something that's been donated, something that's given away as a gift. It's a throw in. It could be a tip, could be a perquisite or a perquisite. It could be that as well. So always looking at what is this word and how does it expand. So lagniappe has a lot of expansion to it, like so many words that we use, but because we stay in our lane, we use the same words all the time. So here's here it is. If you say, are you stuck? Yeah, let's break it down. So we're going to break it down this morning. So if we break down the word of lagniappe, which starts with L, so the L for me is largest, largest, Largess, largest. And it says that's as a gift, something given to someone without expectation of a return. No return is necessary, just given away as a point of just to express their kindness, their love, their care, their appreciation. It's just a gift. It is just a gift. So a largest says that it's a gift, it's a contribution. It could be something that's bestowed upon them, upon you. It's a grant because sometimes it could be monetary, it could be gift as a money. I remember when I first started working at one of my government agencies, and my husband was really sick and dying, and I was really young, and there was some, other person that happened to be a doctor that took an interest in me. And she said, listen, you're going to be all right. And I remember her giving me, basically a gift, you know. And I was overwhelmed. I was overwhelmed. But the gift was for $1,000 for me to make sure that I stayed straight and in place so that I can continue to move forward and work well within the agency. I did that, and I paid her back. And she said, even if you had never paid me back, I was okay. So I know what it is to get, a lanyard, that somebody just decides that you're special enough. And you deserve something for your for whoever you are and whatever you've been to others. So anyway, that was really nice. So largest speaks to that. The it's a freebie. In some instances you may have to give it back, but generally when you're having a lanyard, there is no necessary requirement for a return. It's a giveaway, it's generosity, and it's benevolence. Haven't you seen where people have been given huge, lanyards, and they are more than appreciative, especially those who are going through, trials and tribulations, disaster, homes, burned down or whatever, or water or flooding. North Carolina, having gone through, bad weather and, tornadoes and hurricanes and all these things that have come about in our daily presence. And, we have to realize that with that comes sometimes that maybe we can be the ones to give out a lanyard. just saying, hey, here, we're going to give this. Nothing is required in its return. We move on in the word of lagniappe. We talk about my A is for appreciation. What are we appreciative for? And it says, as in admiration, a feeling of great approval and liking. We like somebody enough, or we care enough about their situation that we want to assist with it. And so it says we give this feeling of admiration and respect and regard. And it says then it's also adoration, esteem, favor. Let's face it, when someone is appreciated, we're giving them favor. And it says it's also love, affection, and enthusiasm to encourage people to know that someone cares about them, someone's interested in them. So when someone gets a lagniappe, they should understand that it's given out of the fact that they were cared enough about to be given something, even if it's just a mint at the end of a meal. Every once in a while I'll get a mint, and I like it enough, and I may ask for another one. But generally speaking, certain restaurants are known for doing that. That's their lagniappe. They're giving something away at no cost, because the meal probably costs enough. But they're giving something away just to let you know that you are appreciated. Thank you for coming in. Come in again. That's your final sweetness or your final takeaway that you remember that you come back for. So we move on in our word of lagniappe. So it's LAG. I say generosity. Anytime anything is given that you didn't have to do, that means you were generous. You didn't have to do it, but you gave it away. And it says that's when you realize that you have a big heart. You have largest, which is what we just talked about. Open-handed, meaning that you're willing to open up your hand and give something from your hand to someone else's hand, that you're okay with that. It also talks about it being philanthropic, and to me, when I think about philanthropic, I think about big money. I am not a philanthropist. I am not, because I don't have that kind of money. But if I did, if the Lord ever blessed me, if he ever blessed me with a lot of money, and I was able to conceal it from those who would come to me, I would want it to be those that I can go to, not those coming to me because they know I have something. It would be those who have no, suspicion whatsoever, but are willing and are in need of something. I would be able to do that, and I would love to do that. So if the Lord ever blesses me, I'm gonna bless some. I'm gonna bless some others. Okay, I know I'm going to do that. So generosity also talks about it being bountifulness, and it also talks about it being unselfishly given. You will give something away because you're unselfish. You're willing to share what you have, And I know even when I go by, many of the homeless people that I see on the streets here, and when I go home to New York or wherever I'm at, I've seen homelessness. I will give. I know sometimes they ask you not to, but I'm giving it away because I see I have the ability to do it and I want to. I can't worry about what they may do with it because I do know, yes, I know that many of them may be buying something, and I'm not trying to buy into their, addictions. But sometimes I've even not even given them money. I've given them things like items or taken them, I said, well, look, we'll just go into the restaurant and I'll buy you what you need, what you would like for breakfast or lunch. And I've done that as well. So sometimes we have to learn how to do it without making it where we're adding to what it is they're already doing that may be pulling them down. So generosity is there. When we go on further in our word of lagniappe, LAGN, so I'm on my N. My N is niceness. How could we not be nice to people? And I imagine if you've had some run-ins with people and they weren't nice and they were cruel and they were, certainly hateful towards you, then that would be a concern. Absolutely. That would be a concern. But if I can get around that and I can find people that are just loving, caring, kind, um, and just need a friend, then I'll probably try to be that friend. I may not have the time to be close, but if I see when I can step in and do something where it is considered a lagniappe, then I would do that. So the lagniappe also says, that the nicety of a person says that there's a quality and a state of their niceness. They know it. They just feel it. And so it talks about it being the datum, the fact, the detail, the particular, the point, and the specific. They know what they want to do. They're interested in being kind. They're interested in being nice. And so they know that when they see something that they can act on, they will. And they do. When I move on my word, um, nap, my A is for, oops, I forgot my I. I just noticed I forgot my I. My I would be for my interest. What is my interest? My interest level is that I'm interested in people beyond myself. So therefore, I'm no longer selfish if I have interest in others. That's not saying I can cure, I can fix, I can build, I can develop people. But what I can say is in my interest, the little time, the little small thing I could do, I may do that, to do that lagniappe, to give them a meal, to give them a flower. Sometimes I would just take flowers to people, and I always remember my mother and grandmother saying, "Give me my flowers while I'm living, because I can smell the beauty," which is actually it's a song. I can smell the beauty, the beauty that I can see and smell the beauty that they bring. And I always think about that. If someone's always downtrodden, saddened, if you can be that one little spark of happy, that's good. So the interest would be, my direction, my intent, my kindness, my love, my share. And I would say also my fairness, not my fairness toward myself, my fairness towards others. How will I, do that? Then I move on in our word and I have award. Award. Sometimes when we think about awards, we think about a prize. And a prize is something that either we've worked for or someone recognized that we deserved. I always think about contests, and a contest is one that has it where you're the player in it. You're the player in it, and so you can have an opportunity to really work with what's going on and be involved in it, or you can wait around and somebody sees what you are doing and they will recognize you and give you something that's considered to be a trophy. It could be an achievement level of recognition. I remember when I was getting my doctorate, a friend of mine, Dr. Paula Tucker Hogan, sent a letter here to the city of Pensacola and they did a proclamation for it being, Dr. Sandra Gary Winborn's, PhD, day of recognition. And that was overwhelming to me because I'd never expected that. I was like, are you kidding? This is mine. So that's been, coming up on, oh my goodness. Let's see, next year to be 20 years that I've had my doctorate. So it's been a while. But sometimes we can just do things for people that end up where it is that thing that just gets to them. It's understood. And it's that word that really just says, oh, what kindness. Lagniappe is just really looking at what is it that I'm getting. So it could be a prize, a premium, a decoration, could be a medal. Have you seen on television where some people never received or they lost or something happened to their medals or their awards that they achieved over time, and somehow or another and someone takes the time to make sure that they get in their hands and they can see their medals again. They can see their awards. They can see what they've earned and what they've accomplished over the years. That's a good thing. So when we talk about, awards, we're talking about what are granted to others, conferred, and that may be done in a small way, because people, when with the lagniappe, that means they don't know they're getting it, but they get it. Hey, good morning, sweet pea. How are you? Good to see you in the space, precious. We're talking about lagniappe, and it's LAGNIAPPE. So it doesn't and it's so short in terms of how you say it, but it's long in terms of how it's spelled. But it is a origin of French, and an American twist, of course. And the first time it was ever used was by Mark Twain, where he just discovered the word in New Orleans. So there you go. That's the short version of what I've already done. But anyway, so far we've talked about it being a largesse, which is a gift, an appreciation where we just acknowledge people. It's our generosity where we're giving something to someone because we want them to know that we care enough, even if it's someone we don't know. We could buy a cup of coffee, we could buy them a cup of tea, we could buy them, a donut, something. And also talks about it being our generosity, our niceness, the fact that we are nice when we decided to do something special. Could be a major thing where we're doing an award of some sort, something totally unexpected. And there they are with their name on something like a trophy or a could be a plaque, but it's a level of an accolade that no one expected to receive. And then we just did the present, which is talking about something that's been bestowed upon somebody. And it could be given as a donation, a comp. Have you ever been comped anything where somebody says, well, I just want you to have that. And you're surprised because it's probably more than what you imagined. It says it could be a gift, a handset, freebies. How many of us have gone to different events and we end up, when it's time to leave, we got freebies and I love the hand sanitizers, and I'm always looking for the ones that are flat and they're small, so they fit in my pocketbook really well. So I love those. And that one always is gone because it's really a purse, an easy purse carrying item. And I love that. So now we're on the word perquisite. It's almost like Percocet, but it's perquisite. Perquisite. It's PERQUISITE, and that's basically it's a bonus, an unexpected bonus. Somebody gives it to you. It's a dividend. It's extra, And once again, it's a lagniappe. It could be a gratuity. It could be a tip. A friend of mine was telling me that one time she had tipped someone like $50 more than the meal cost, because they were so good. But because she went to this place so often, she got to know the personality of the person. And ultimately, she said, I'm just going to give her something really special. And that, to me, is certainly a wonderful, wonderful thing to do. But once again, if I had money, I'd do it more often, but I do it as best I can. I do. So the perquisite is when a bonus has been given to somebody, a dividend, something extra, something totally unexpected, OJ, good morning. Long lasting friendships are perks. Come on now, girl. Yes, they are. And you are my long lasting friendship from Oneonta State University, Suco in New York. Yes, long lasting. And you're so talented and fun. But thank you. Good morning. Good morning, Justin. This is a good topic. I was thinking of the people who lost things that they valued. Always have gratitude. Yes. Thank you, Justice. Every time I get something that I treasure, I'm always grateful for it. I'm always grateful for it. And every time I give away something that I like and I give it to someone else, I'm always grateful for them. Gratitude, you were right. Just the fact that we are able to think, see, say, we need to do it. And so thank you both for both of your comments. I appreciate that. Um, we live in a world that could be full of joy at times, but we recognize the sadness. We recognize it. The plane crashes has really, walloped me because I live a long way from New York. So when I get on the plane, I try not to panic. I try to, and I am a God fearing woman, so I do believe in God, and I do have, and I do know that He has grace and mercy, and every day that I live, I'm grateful for that. So one of the things that even when I went to Australia last year, as prior to me becoming president of my Rotary Club, I remember thinking I'm going to fly over the international date line, and I am like 18 hours just in one section of my flight, and can I handle it? Well, I did, but in the middle of the flight, I thought I had tried to stay up as long as I could, and therefore I was going to sleep 18 hours. It is not possible. It did not happen, and I woke up and swore that we were there. I said, oh my God, we're almost there. Not so. Not so. We were not there. The young man in the middle of, I was next to the window, said, he punched my screen. He says, no, ma'am, you have 7.5 more hours to go. Oh my God. All of a sudden I had a panic attack. So I don't know. I'm going to have to see how I can quiet down and be comfortable with flying long distances again, because, and obviously the long distance, that's crazy, because even a short distance may be just as the possibility of being harmed. But one thing I can say is that, I've been praying that the families are in their grief, that they will know that God is merciful and He will give them peace when it is so time to do so. But this is fresh, and it's fresh for all of us as people who, even if we didn't see it initially, as it was happening, they keep showing it on television. So I've seen it a couple of times, and it's heart-wrenching. It really and truthfully is. Anyway, my last letter in my word of lagniappe is an E. And the E is for extra, something unexpected. When we receive something we did not receive, we did not either deserve, expect, um, or determine that we were in the know to get it, that's extra. That's important, that we certainly know to say thank you, and I appreciate it, and I'm so humbled by it. Um, it's not just words; it's feeling. It's a feeling. So when I get something, I'm very very thankful. And so it says extra, add in as an existing or usual amount of number. It means it is in addition to what you already have, or it's in addition to what you don't have, adding to what you don't have. Like if you're in need of something, like I can't imagine that all the people, in California and North Carolina don't need so many things, you know. And so we're adding anytime they get something. I love my Rotary Club. We were just able to send them a good amount of money up to the Rotary Club that manages that operates in that area, and we made that connection, and we sent them a wonderful financial donation for the people in the area that are suffering in North Carolina. And ultimately, we have plans that we may try and do our best to do the same thing for California. So sometimes you have to step up. You have to do what they call this lagniappe and be faithful to it. That it may not occur all the time, but it's certainly a wonderful thing that when you can do it, that you would. So the extra talks about it being additional, more. supplementary to what they have. And it says it may be going further the mile, going the extra. It says maybe it's something that's supplemental, excuse me, um, subsidiary, secondary, giving something that's another, and then of course it would be other than what they have. So it's been a fun word. I kind of enjoy it. I've been breaking down the words a little bit differently, also going into what's their known, etymology. What else is out there on the word? What other words were available at that time? Um, and what you find is that words are connected, and they have meaning, but what happens is they have depth. When we know more words to say than just the typical two or three about a particular situation, that's when we can write, and that's when we can speak, because we don't become redundant. We're able to really express ourselves in multiple ways. So that's what this word was about today. We're going to do it again on Monday. I will come up with another word. I will figure out all of the other things that are attached to the word and how they may apply even to our current lives, because I think many of us, even if we go back to this word, lagniappe, we get lagniappes all the time. Somebody does something for us, and we don't even realize that there's a name for it. There's a name for everything. We stay around long enough, we will be very well equipped to have conversations with children, to the king and the queens, to the Pope, to the president, if you want to talk, okay? But anyway, I want you to have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. I will be back on Monday. If you don't do anything else, hit the share button and let some folks know in your stream of friends that I'm around, I'm here, I am available at no cost. There's no cost for this. It's just my way of keeping myself acclimated and interested in life, because I learn something new every day. And one of the things that it says to ward off things like Alzheimer's is to be physically active and to be mentally active, where every single day, because brain cells drop off, we take brain cells. By when we learn something new, that forms a new path in the brain. Every time we learn something we did not know. So I do this every other day. I was doing it 5 days a week, but it was a little too much because I still am on board meetings and do my other meetings, and I do my church things. So I'm busy. So in between, I'm still trying to make sure those brain cells work. But thank you. Have a wonderful weekend. See you on Monday. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you guys. Thank you guys. Hey, Cheryl and Carney. I didn't see you earlier. I know sometimes the system doesn't let everybody in, and I see where people have watched the video and commented, but I don't see it. So I apologize if I don't see you and catch you, but I love you guys. I appreciate you. And look for a way to do something with the small lagniappe for somebody this weekend, a small one. Maybe you give them a little treat of some sort, and then just disappear. That's all you got to do. Okay. I'll see you on Monday. Thank you so much. Have a good. Bye-bye.